Good morning. You are watching NYSE TV Live. I'm Trinity Chavez, and welcome to the New York Stock Exchange, the epicenter of the global financial markets. It is Tuesday, August 28th, 2023. We are perched up high above the trading floor at the New York Stock Exchange, arguably the most influential securities exchange in the United States. And we are ready to celebrate Amerant Bank Corp joining the NYSE community of over 2,400 listed companies, ticker symbol AMTB. So for all of you who are watching, a part of the Amerant team, who are watching near and far, congratulations on your transfer. You have all been a part of this journey to get you here today. And now for those of you who may not know, Amerant Bank Corp operates 23 banking centers, 17 in South Florida and 6 in Houston, Texas. It is the largest banking community headquartered in Florida. It's also the 5th listing anniversary today on the public markets for Amerant in 2023, plus the 45th founding anniversary in 2024. So to honor the occasion, Chair and CEO Jerry Plush will receive an NYSE medallion today, along with FTB gavel and the listing certificate, which we will tune in for in just a few minutes when we go to the boardroom. But Amerant Bank Corp's transfer is now the 14th transfer to the NYSE community this year. Specifically, Amerant, they will now be the 12th regional community bank to transfer to the NYSE since June 2021, and over $100 billion of total market cap has been transferred to the NYSE in 2023 so far. And to give you a little bit more information, since 2000, we have had 341 transfers to the NYSE community, representing over $1.3 trillion in total market cap. And to give you a little background on the company, Amerant, like many banks, provide individuals and businesses in the U.S. with deposit and credit and wealth management services. It employs 710 individuals and is the largest banking community headquartered in Florida. The bank operates 23 banking centers across the country, and Amerant is also the official bank of the Miami Heat, the official bank of the Florida Panthers, and the official hometown bank of the University of Miami Hurricanes. And I have to add that the Florida Panthers owner, Vinny Viola, was one of the most recent guests here on our podcast, Inside the Ice House, so make sure you tune into that. But before we go to the boardroom, I'd love to give you a little bit of history of this iconic institution. The NYSE traces its roots back to 1792, when a group of traders gathered beneath a buttonwood tree on Wall Street. They formed an agreement famously known as the Buttonwood Agreement to create a centralized marketplace for buying and selling stocks and bonds. Fast forward 231 years later, we now have over 2,400 listed companies, and the NYSE has around $40 trillion in total market cap. The exchange has become synonymous with corporate giants and its hosts, from some of the most recognizable names like Coca-Cola, IBM, and Disney, offering investors the opportunity to invest in well-established businesses and trusted companies. And we will talk more about that in just a few moments, but now we're going to toss it to the boardroom, where my colleague Chris Taylor, head of global listings here at the NYSE, is hosting the event.
Good morning, everyone. For those of you I haven't met, I'm Chris Taylor, Global Head of Listings, and on behalf of all of my colleagues, it is my absolute pleasure to welcome Amerant Bank Corp to the New York Stock Exchange. Welcome, everyone. So Jerry, good morning to you and your team here. Welcome to all the directors that are here as well, and family members, and a shout out to everyone watching on the live stream today. So welcome to your new home away from home, the New York Stock Exchange. And I just want to kind of situate everybody in terms of where we are in Lower Manhattan. So when you walked in our doors this morning, I hope you took a nice look around this neighborhood. It's a really historically important neighborhood, not only for New York City, but for this country. You may have seen a quick glimpse of George Washington on the screen before. That statue sits right outside this building. That's where he was sworn in as his country's first president in 1789. The building behind him is where the first Capitol stood. It's where the Supreme Court convened for the first time. And importantly, for all of us in the financial markets, it's where Hamilton started the Treasury Department. And just 3 years after Washington was sworn in is when the New York Stock Exchange got its start in 1792. So we've been here about 231 years. It's an amazing history. So much has changed in the capital markets in this country, around the world. But the only reason we can lay claim to that history is because of our listed companies. And nothing warms our heart more than welcoming a new company to the New York Stock Exchange. So today is a very special day, not only for you, but also for us at the New York Stock Exchange. And when you think about our history, you go back to the first company listed on the exchange. It was the Bank of New York, created by Alexander Hamilton. And banks and financial institutions have been a critical part of our history all along the way. And I know how important a role that Amerant plays in its communities as well, not only providing financial services to the people that you work with, but also supporting communities in a variety of different ways. So we are proud to have you as an NYSE listed company. Today is day one of what is going to be a great long-time partnership. We know of only one way to celebrate a new listing on the New York Stock Exchange, and that's to ring the opening bell. So without further delay, I'd like to call up your chair and CEO, but more importantly, at least for the next 30 minutes, today's bell ringer, Jerry Plush. Jerry.
Good morning, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Big day for Amerant. I first and foremost want to thank again all of our directors who are here today. It's as I mentioned last evening, it was not that many choices in terms of dates, and we're so extraordinarily lucky to get to ring the bell today to open the markets. I understand it's a nice quiet day so far. I probably just jinxed it, Mike, but hopefully we're off to a great start today. I just cannot tell you, though, how much I appreciate my Amerant colleagues that are here today, some additional friends that have shown up and taken some time out of their busy day to be with us. And most importantly, this is to my Amerant colleagues back in South Florida, in Tampa, and in Houston, Texas, and then also all our Amerant mortgage personnel all throughout the U.S. We wouldn't be here if it weren't for all of you. I think it's incredibly important that you all take as much time as you can to enjoy the moment. I know I just said it was a moment. I'm actually saying enjoy the day. I know that's a rare thing for me to say, because I'm usually the one telling you, hey, this was a great moment, now let's move on and get back to work. But this is something really to celebrate. This is a culmination of an awful lot of work. I want to recognize a couple of our colleagues who've done some extraordinary efforts to get here, particularly Laura Rossi, Julio Pena, Sherry Mar Calderon, and Carlos Iafigliola, who, if they weren't here, we wouldn't be here this morning. So the four of them did unbelievable work, and to everyone at the exchange, everyone from GTS, what a great welcome today. We greatly appreciate that we're going to have a chance to work together on a go-forward basis. And it is our desire to have this be a very, very, very long-term relationship. So without further ado, I'll turn the stage back to Chris, and we'll go from there.
Okay. So I come bearing gifts, Jerry. So first off, we have a lot of traditions built up over a couple of centuries. The most notable one, of course, is ringing the bell. But every morning we strike a medallion for our bell ringer. The front of this medallion is the facade of the exchange, 6 pillars that represent free markets all over the world. And on the reverse side is the Buttonwood tree, where it all started 231 years ago. Welcome to the exchange, Jerry. Absolutely. Appreciate it. Quick photo here. And if you could place that down, one more thing, and this is really the most special presentation that we have to our companies, because we do it once. This is the initial certificate of listing that officially welcomes Amerant Bank Corp to the NYSE. Now, the NYSE is composed of 2,400 companies from 47 countries around the world. We call it the greatest community of companies on earth, and this is the certificate that officially welcomes you to the NYSE. Thank you, Jerry. Appreciate it. Quick photo here. Awesome. All right. Thank you, sir. We are right on time. We've got one more thing to do, and that is to move to the trading floor, take a few more photos. Everybody bring their best smiles, and then we're going to open up the markets precisely at 9:29:50. For now, I will turn the live stream over to my colleague, Trinity Chavez, and we'll see you on the floor, everyone. Thank you.
Thank you so much for that. Again, that was Chris Taylor. And, we also heard Jerry Plush, who is the chair and CEO of Amerant, speaking, thanking his colleagues, everyone who was watching near and far for getting to this pivotal moment today. He also said that this is a culmination of extremely hard work, and he couldn't be here today if it wasn't for all of you who are watching. And also, this is a start of a very, very long-standing relationship. And speaking of a long-standing relationship with Amerant Bank Corp as it joins the NYSE community, it's to commemorate this moment today. We saw the gift presentation just a few moments ago. That's hugely significant because it reflects the tradition and the heritage of the NYSE. It upholds the customs and the rituals that have been a part of the exchange's culture for centuries. These ceremonial gestures pay homage to the past while embracing the future of finance. And in just a few moments, we're going to see members of the Amerant team, along with Chris Taylor, make their way down that long stretch of corridor on the 6th floor here at the New York Stock Exchange, where we have more than a dozen rooms and have held some of the most incredibly fascinating events here, from Broadway musical debuts to pickleball tournaments that you saw right there in that boardroom. We actually converted that whole room to a pickleball tournament, which was extremely exciting. Now, the NYSE has hosted some truly remarkable events here, and we have been here every step of the way, covering it all, capturing it, giving all of you who are tuning in a little sneak peek of what actually happens behind the closed doors here of this historic 230-year-old institution, including what takes place on the trading floor when we are hosting milestone events like IPOs and transfers like today. And as a part of the celebration for Amerant Bank Corp today, in just a few moments, again, like I said, they will make their way down that corridor, take the elevators down, which at one point we had the quickest elevators in New York City, but we will see them sort of navigate through our active trading floor, heading to the Bell Podium. Well, they'll have the rare opportunity to have a little photo shoot underneath the Bell Podium and sign the Distinguished Guest Book, which I will be sort of narrating the whole time as you get pictures of that. And they will etch their name right next to the dozens of thought leaders and entrepreneurs and world leaders who have also signed that book. And then after they do that, again, they will have another little photo shoot on Cramer's set. Jim Cramer, he hosts Mad Money on the floor here too, right in front of CNBC, with our in-house photographer team. They'll capture this milestone moment before making their way up the secret staircase to the Bell Podium and open up the U.S. equity markets. Right now we're getting pictures of Chris Taylor and again the Amerant team making their way down that long corridor like I described on the 6th floor, and they are going to take the elevators down here as they walk on our trading floor, get situated underneath that Bell Podium right before signing the Distinguished Guest Book. And again, this is a sneak peek into what actually happens behind the closed doors here at the New York Stock Exchange on the active trading floor, where we have more than 200 traders actively placing in orders that have come in overnight. And we will talk more about that in just a little bit as we get ready to open up the U.S. equity markets. Let's take a look at market news. Stock futures so far about flat this morning as we get ready to open up the markets. And this after stocks rose on Monday to kick off the final trading week of August, with Wall Street looking to regain ground amid the past months of losses. Now, the Dow gained about 213 points at the close, and the S&P 500 climbed about 0.63%. Both indexes have lost ground in August, with the S&P 500 shedding about 3.4%, while the Dow slipped 2.8%. But to talk more about this and the market and what we can expect today and later in the week, let's bring in JD Durkin of TheStreet.com. JD, what do you got?
Good morning, Trinity. U.S. futures currently trading flat to the downside to kick things off on this Tuesday morning. Earlier today, we did see a bit of a decline, a bit of a pullback for some of those long-term Treasury yields that we follow very closely. A similar price movement for both the 10 and the 2-year yields, but we did start to see those numbers creep back up and a positive open for European stocks. All of that sets the stage for a very busy trading session here on this Tuesday. And speaking of trading sessions, we did have a winning one yesterday. You'll pardon the surprise in my voice. It's just that, of course, as we know, we haven't had a whole lot lot of those so far in the month of August. We know that historically speaking, August and September, not exactly the strongest performing months for U.S. equities, though we did have a winning session for both the Dow and the S&P yesterday. Both of those indexes finishing up the day 0.6%. 3M undisputedly the big dog coming out on top in the Dow 30 components. That stock, 3M, finishing up more than 5% on the day. Other strong New York Stock Exchange performers for yesterday's session include Boeing, Salesforce, as well as Goldman. Each of those companies finishing up more than 1%. Even though we do expect a decline in volume between now and Friday ahead of the 3-day Labor Day weekend, it's certainly going to be a very busy one for people that like data. Later on today, we will get the July JOLTS, or job opening labor turnover survey numbers. We'll get new consumer confidence numbers later today as well. Flash forward to Thursday of this week, we'll get the weekly initial jobless claims figures and, of course, personal consumption expenditures, or PCE data, the data point for inflation we know our friends at the Fed like to follow very closely. And even though Friday of this week, ahead of the holiday weekend, may ultimately feel like a bit of a quiet day, not so much for people that are following the economic figures. On Friday morning, we'll get August jobs and, of course, ISM manufacturing. All of these things for the central bank to try and sink its teeth into as it better determines the path of monetary policy. Patricia Medina, market strategy analyst here at the New York Stock Exchange, wrote in a MacDesk update note yesterday that Chairman Jerome Powell of the central bank delivered a low-drama message at Jackson Hole at the end of last week, reiterating data dependency with a hawkish tone, noting ongoing disinflation, also doubling down on that ultimate inflation target of 2%. The Fed likes to say it's data dependent, no shortage of data points between now and the holiday weekend for the Fed to take into close consideration. And believe it or not, earnings season still not quite yet a thing of the past. After the bell today, we'll be following the latest quarterly results from NYSE giant HP, set to report its quarterly numbers after the bell later today. Trinity, back to you.
A lot to look forward to. Thank you so much, JD. We have a lot to look out for later on today and later this week even. Now we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I'm going to meet you on the trading floor.
Delightful to be here today. Great crowd. You can see a lot of orange shirts out here this morning. Great to see the support for the community. United Way is a terrific cause, and we're just absolutely thrilled to be here to be part of it.
I want to thank Amerant Bank for being our title sponsor for 2 years in a row. So thank Jerry Plush and his team at Amerant Bank for being such incredible partners. Without them, we couldn't do what we do in the community.
Connecting to opportunity is just part of the hustle.
Opportunity is using data to create a competitive advantage.
It's raising capital to help companies change the world.
It's making complicated financial concepts seem simple.
Opportunity is making the dream of home ownership a reality.
Writing new rules and redefining the game.
And driving the world forward to a greener energy future.
Opportunity is setting a goal.
And charting a course to get there.
Sometimes the only thing standing between you and opportunity is someone who can make the connection.
At ICE, we connect people to opportunity.
All right, we're here on the trading floor right now as everyone is making their way down. It's going to start filling up just right behind me, behind CNBC's set. But before we get started and open up the U.S. equity markets, I want to bring in my colleague, Pete Ash, who is the head archivist here at the New York Stock Exchange. Good morning, Pete. It's a great morning.
It's always a great morning with transfers, bells ringings. It's always a good time.
It's amazing. And, you know, I got my orange on. I'm representing, as we normally do when you're hosting with me.
Perfect. Yeah, I noticed when I walked up this morning, the black and orange on the column, very cool colors.
Now tell me, provide details a little bit of how significant transfers are here at the NYSE, given the long-standing relationship you've also had being here for over 6 years.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the things people don't really think about, and you're going to get the history from me, obviously, is for most of our history, companies didn't IPO directly on the New York Stock Exchange. They would IPO on a regional exchange, a small exchange. They might even just sell stock over the counter, that OTC market. Literally, they would sell stock out of their factory. And then when the company was ready, when they had enough shareholders, they'd come and list on the New York Stock Exchange. So sort of transfers is the heart and soul of the New York Stock Exchange. And in recent years, as companies have realized that our market model is a difference maker, and companies have moved over from other places they may be trading currently over to the New York Stock Exchange. I think you were saying earlier, $1.3 trillion in market cap in just the last 20 years.
It's really incredible. And you know what? We're getting pictures right now of the book signing as everyone is watching back at home. But let's talk about the significance from your vantage point about signing the distinguished guest book and then later etching their name on the wall as they make their way up the podium.
Yeah, they're two versions of the same thing, right? It's the idea of that distinguished guest book, the bell ringers. And it's not just companies transferring or IPOing, it's government leaders, it's world leaders, it's thought leaders, it's the people who are really changing the world. And they sign that book, they add their name to the list, and you can flip through it and read about the people who are here, not just yesterday, but going back to the 60s, 70s, 80s, even earlier. And then the wall, I love the wall, because you think about it, the book signed, those are the bell ringers, those are the people at the head of the companies, the countries, wherever they're from. But everyone on the bell podium signs that wall, and they graffiti their names, and it's sort of very democratic. Everyone gets to put their name up there, and you can look and you can see the people who've come here before you, and also, your name's there forever.
And talk to me, obviously you're the archivist here. I want to know more about the process, and I'm sure everybody would be fascinated to know about how you go about archiving the distinguished guest book. I'm sure it fills up at some point. I mean, we were talking about how even the wall sometimes gets replaced a few times a month because so many people sign it. What's that process like?
Yeah, so it's good timing. So the distinguished guest book is actually almost filled. So I have in my office upstairs the next one sitting, and we actually have volumes made. And if you go back to our archives, we have the books, on the shelf, nicely preserved. Don't worry, they're nice and safe. And they go back, and occasionally we'll pull out old ones when we have guests coming back or things like that. But we do, and we have to replace the book. And if you think about it, there's about 250 trading days a year, opening bell, closing bell, that's 500 signatures. So the book gets changed out every 3 or 4 years to make sure that there's enough pages.
I just want to point out that we just had a trader pass by, so we might get pushed out of the way here a time or two because, again, this is an active trading floor. 100 to 200 traders are, again, actively placing in the orders that have come in overnight, and so I just wanted to point that out. But also, from your vantage point, we're getting pictures right now, actually, of the whole team making their way up the secret staircase, as I alluded to earlier, as they get ready to open up the markets. Around 100 million people could be watching this moment of Amerant Bank Corp open up the U.S. equity markets at any given point. It's arguably the most watched news event in the world. But I want to get back to talking about your role here at the New York Stock Exchange. And there's actually, we even have a archive site off location because we have so many artifacts. What would you say is your favorite one?
So the Bond 1 agreement is obviously the most influential one, but we have some amazing artifacts to go back to our very founding in 1792. I'm actually in conversation I was doing emails this morning with a couple people about, we own a perpetual bond. Most people are familiar with bonds. A perpetual bond is actually a bond that pays interest. We have one that goes back to the 1600s because before the corner wall on Broad was home of the New York Stock Exchange, before it was home of even the United States, it was a Dutch colony, and it was settled by a company listed on the Amsterdam Stock Exchange, where 230 years old, which is a very old company for the United States, but we're actually about 100 years younger than the Amsterdam Stock Exchange. And so we have a bond that was listed there from the 1600s that still actually pays interest. So it's a really fascinating piece of history. And obviously, I'm thinking banking. We have the records going back to our very first listed company, the Bank of New York, founded by, run by Alexander Hamilton, who had a little role in a lot of the other things, as well as a Broadway star.
It's very significant and really is in line with our heritage here at the New York Stock Exchange. Now, having the transfer like Amerant Bank Corp again and other traders have been past us, join the over 2,400 listed companies here at the New York Stock Exchange. I mean, let's talk about the significance in that, and tell me about some of our longest listed companies here at the exchange. We have had some, I think, upwards of 200 years.
Yes, the 200 years is Con Ed, which is a New York-based utility company. But our earliest company, I mentioned Bank of New York, but it also was the early banks. Because you think about it, you're starting a country, you need an economy. The biggest thing you got to get going are the banks. So really, our earliest listed companies were banks and insurance companies. As I always say, One, to help you raise the money you need. The other one, to make sure insure whatever you are building here. And so the New York Stock Exchange was founded to basically trade those securities and help them raise money.
Well, I don't mean to cut you off, but we're about 10 seconds out. The bell waits for no one, so let's just listen in, and we'll join you back here after the bell. All right, it's official. The U.S. equity markets are now open. We're going to see a lot more action happening here on the floor. So if we get pushed out of the way, that's what's happening here. I'm going to bring in right now Jay Woods. He is the Chief Global Strategist for Freedom Market Cap. Good morning.
Hey, good morning. How are you doing? This is an exciting bell.
It's very exciting. It's a bank transfer. We're hitting record numbers. I mean, people just love the NYSE.
Yeah, I'm a little biased. Do you like the NYSE? I've been here 31 years. Of course I do. But congratulations on the transfer. It's always exciting when a new company comes over, and we can talk more about that, or we can talk about the markets.
Well, let's talk about the markets now that they're officially open. I actually want to piggyback off your conversation yesterday with Pete Ash. Obviously, we heard Jerome Powell speak on Friday talking about inflation. It didn't scare the market, which is good. The futures were pointing flat. Now, what are we seeing with the market?
Yeah, we're kind of flat, and that's not a bad thing. There have been a lot of jitters. This is August, traditionally one of the worst 2 months of the year, September being the other one, and we're down. It's staying true to form, but there has been no panic sell-off, just a normal retracement in some of the stocks that have been overvalued, and then some of the stocks that have been lagging are actually starting to catch a bid and starting to lift. So positive rotation in this market continues to be the theme. I think we're going to be slow into this 3-day weekend. Traders are a little tired. Last week of summer, getting away, getting kids to school. So being flat, not a bad thing.
We're actually getting pictures right now of the wall signing, which you have signed in the past also. That's awesome.
It is exciting to have your name up on that wall. It's a great honor when any of our companies get to ring that bell. The top executive gets to sign the book, but everyone that gets to stand on that podium, 15 guests, get to sign the wall, and they're inked in there for history, so it's pretty cool.
I want to get back to the market and Jerome Powell. Obviously, it didn't scare the market and didn't scare it. He struck the right tone, I would say. But I mean, what would you say we have to expect for the rest of the week, and what sort of trends are we seeing in specific sectors?
Yeah, well, you're absolutely right. He did strike the right tone, and that's what we were fearful here, because we remembered last year at that same exact speech, he kind of threw cold water on what was a little bit of a rally. This time, he said, no, we're taming inflation, but we're going to be data dependent. So to answer your question, what are we looking for the rest of the week? Jobless claims every Thursday. That's the most important thing, because we want to see if that unemployment level can stay low, or just if it raises slightly. That's the narrative of the soft landing. Taming inflation, keeping unemployment low and stable. And then the PCE, that is the inflationary number that the Fed seems to prefer. We down here like to trade the CPI. That makes the market a little more volatile, but the personal consumption index is something that everyone's keeping an eye on, or personal consumption expenditures. PCE is what we're watching for Thursday as well.
Now, obviously, I mean, you said that August was a historically bad month. What do you think was driving that volatility?
Well, a couple things. One, history does like to repeat itself here. Being here 30 years, you see cycles develop, and this was true to form. Two, we've had some sectors that have done extremely well, and they're retracing. And what people do at the halfway mark of the year is they reassess what they've been doing. They look at their winners, they look at their losers, and they reallocate capital to try to catch what the next wave would be. So we saw it in technology in the first half of the year, and some of the beaten down stocks, regional banks, we're starting to see them lift. These sectors are starting to lift their head and look like they could be the leaders going into the second half of the year.
What would your message be to investors navigating through the rest of the year?
Yeah, I think stay the course. I mean, an investor to me is someone that's a long-term, participant in this market. There's no greater place to be than U.S. markets. You buy what you know, buy what you use, buy what you believe in. You stay long, you put them away. You don't look at every single tick like we do down here. There will be some bumps in the road. We do have 3 retracements of 5% on average in the S&P 500. We've had 2 now, if you count this most recent one. So yeah, we could see some more volatility, but I think at the year end, people are going to chase performance. Seasonally, it's the strongest 6 months of the year between October and then March. So I think there are good things on the horizon.
Now, I want to talk specifically about Amerant Bank Corp's transfer. What sort of trends are we seeing in the banking sector specifically?
Well, let's focus on the transfer. I mean, coming to the New York Stock Exchange, as someone who was a market maker for 28 years, we always welcome companies here. You'll get service like you never had before. You're going to get an actual human at point of sale. So you get that second set of eyeballs, someone that can report back to the company and tell you what's going on. As far as the sector goes, it had been a rough quarter, and I think I'm seeing nice signs of recovery. Unfortunately, when things go down, it's always the elevator down and the stairs up, and we're starting to climb those stairs. So I think coming here, hopefully, today's opening is your lowest opening at the New York Stock Exchange. We can begin that climb back.
Now, as we're getting pictures right now of Amerant Corp's CEO signing the wall as he makes his way down, because we're going to speak with him in just a little bit, I want to talk specifically about the timing. You said that we're sort of like on the trajectory up. We're standing, we're stepping up these stairs. I mean, so you would say the timing is right.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, when you talk about financials, you can't help but talk about interest rates. And right now, it looks like after Jackson Hole, then interest rates are going to stabilize. It looks like we're going to pause in September. And if we can keep rates stable at this level, I think over the long term that will pose, to be a great thing for the regional banks and the big banks alike.
And how do you think this transfer will impact Amerant Bank Corp's position from an economic standpoint on the market?
Yeah, I just, like I said, I think, coming to the New York Stock Exchange, getting that exposure of the bell and getting that second set of eyes, that's always welcome. So we're shining some light on your story today, and but you guys tell the story better than anybody. We're just here to navigate some of those volatile times and be there for the company as it continues to trade.
Absolutely, Jay. Well, I've taken up enough of your time. I know you have a job to do, so I'll let you go. All right, thank you. Now I'm going to pull Jerry Plush in, who is the CEO. Hello, Mr. Plush. Congratulations on your transfer today.
Thank you.
I mean, how are you feeling? You just opened up the U.S. equity markets at the New York Stock Exchange.
Great feeling. Terrific on behalf of all of my Amerant colleagues, on behalf of our board members who are here today. Big day for Amerant. Another step in the journey which we're on, big transformation of our company. And this was definitely one of the major milestones for us.
Why would you say now was a time to transfer and join the NYSE community of over 2,400 listed companies?
The big thing for us, obviously, we went public in December of 18, listed on NASDAQ. As a small, unknown organization, I think we've now got the size and scale, the following of the company, that it makes a lot of sense. We obviously think that the business model here is terrific. We're very excited to be working with a DMM at this point. I think that there's a need for not just pure electronic, but for the balance and having the human interaction, and so we like that a lot.
And we love that too, but you know what, we're going to cut this interview short because you have a first trade bell to ring. I got to let you go. Look at Mr. Taylor is waiting for you. It was nice speaking with you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, see, that's what happens here on the floor. You never know what's going to happen. So let's start getting pictures right now with the first trade bell. This is, again, hugely significant because it is the first trade bell. You ring that opening bell on the podium. It's amazing, but you only ring that first trade bell one time. Again, this is AMTB's milestone celebration, joining the over 2,400 listed companies here at the New York Stock Exchange. That is Chris Taylor standing next to the first. Oh, we're getting sound right now. Opened up, $18.66. We like seeing the green on the screen. And again, this is just the beginning of the long-standing relationship here at the New York Stock Exchange. Again, we're getting pictures of the team in front of their designated market maker, GTS. And this is what, again, sets us apart from any other exchange in the world, is the fact that we have a designated market maker, a specialized trader standing with your stock for the days, weeks, months, years ahead. As Pete was talking about earlier, some of our listed companies have been with us for over 200 years. Celebrating Con Edison was one of them that I actually hosted. And another perk of being listed with us here at the New York Stock Exchange is the fact that you get us, our team here, our whole production team here, captivating, capturing every milestone celebration and historic moment here at the New York Stock Exchange. And then there is our in-house photography team capturing images of the first trade bell. Again, this is the whole team utilizing every opportunity here to celebrate this milestone moment. We're just going to listen in for a few moments. I am now joined with Sherry Mark Calderon, the Chief Financial Officer. Congratulations on your transfer today.
Thank you very much. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you feeling right now, joining the over 2,400 listed companies at the New York Stock Exchange?
Definitely very exciting moment for us at Amerant, so very happy to be here.
What has been your favorite part about the day?
I mean, I think having the chance to spend the time with the board and with management, and having the opportunity to see the bell ring in the morning, very exciting for us.
Now, I want to talk more about why you think, from a financial vantage point, that now is the good time to transfer and join the NYSE community.
I think it's a great opportunity for us, mainly because of the human component and making sure that we can have more stability in the price of our stock. So I think it's just the right time for us.
And what would you say you're most excited about to look forward to in the future?
What I would say, and I'm going to echo a little bit of Jerry's message he shared a while ago, I think we want to be the bank of choice in the markets we serve, so I think it's a great opportunity for us to get there. That's our goal.
And from your vantage point, what are some of the biggest trends you're seeing right now in the banking sector?
I'm sorry?
From your vantage point, what are some of the trends right now that you're seeing in the banking sector?
I think focusing on deposits, which is one of our main strategies, our deposits first, and making sure we can meet our loan pipeline. So it's a challenge for the industry, but we're headed in the right direction there.
And it obviously takes a hugely committed team to get to where you are today. I mean, Jerry was talking all about that in the boardroom. What would you like to tell everybody who's watching near and far?
I think we're very excited and very happy to have such a great management team and such a great leadership team. It helps us make sure that we can get to our goals. So very happy to have them join us and working towards our goal. That's it.
And we're so excited to have you. Congratulations and welcome to the NYSE community. We look forward to having you back for milestone celebrations, investor days, whatever it might be. We'll be here to cover it.
Looking forward to this long-term relationship. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, well, that just about does it for us, and we're wrapping up our live show. Make sure to follow us on all of our digital media platforms at NYSE, and until then, we'll tune in for our closing bell. We'll see you next time.
Not only are you helping United Way, you are tremendously helping us out with the conservation of what our natural areas are here. You don't understand, the little things that you do becomes a huge thing, and it's a huge impact, and I'm so glad that you're here.
We came to Pompano Beach to dedicate a house for the Mansfield family. It's a project that we have been working for several months now, along with Habitat for Humanity here in Broward. It's been a great experience getting to know this family. More than 50 team members of Amerant Bank have been coming to this project.
are very grateful for Amerant Bank for not only partnering with the university, but with the University of Miami Alumni Association in helping us make the world a better place. And because of their generous support and the impact that Amerant Bank is playing in our community locally, we are able to do things together to impact the globe. Thank you.
Together, we built something truly beautiful in the true iconic notion of what America is all about.
This is our task, this is our mission. We have a clear focus and we have the ability to be agile and innovate.
It takes years of dedication to get us to this milestone. It is all because of you.
Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. It is the only thing that ever has.
To be a woman leader, it's not so easy, but it's easy if the passion and the love is coming from your heart.
The New York Stock Exchange is the symbol of what America is all about. The potential of capitalism, the potential of an American dream.
The only way you can move a society forward is a true expression of freedom.